So I read Losing Ground by Charles Murray. I've been told to read this book for a while. It's been cited to me multiple times. The subtitle is American Social Policy 1950 to 1980, which, as boring as it sounds, that's pretty much what the book is about. It goes through and analyzes the data from 1950 to 1980 and compares that with, compares crime data, poverty, like single motherhood that we're seeing the rising rates of today. It looks at all these things and it compares it to the American social policy of increasing the welfare state and different welfare programs along those lines and seeing if they had any effect. And he does approach this very honestly. He says, okay, I've left all the data I'm citing in the appendix of this book. If you want to look at it yourself, I've shown all this stuff. Here's all the information, and you look at it. And it's very well laid out, and he makes a very valid point. He makes a very good point saying, here's the data. Look, from this data, we can show essentially how a lot of these problems that we're facing today can be attributed to the war on poverty. Or not even policies today, but he's just saying the war on poverty didn't work. In fact, it did a lot more harm than good, depending on your definition of like what you wanted to achieve. But we can say that the war on poverty did not do a lot of good in actually stopping poverty. And he goes through the reasons why, theories why, and he essentially goes into how when you take this government step in overreach or in manipulating the economy and saying, okay, we want people to do this, or we want to help people, stop them from doing this, or get them out of poverty, he shows that there's all of these unintended consequences that you didn't even think about, and we can hardly blame you for not thinking about all these unintended consequences that you just wouldn't think of that end up happening, and it can result in all of these problems. So that's essentially what he does. He makes a very good point on why these things did so much harm. And I do like how the book is laid out. It's actually laid out in kind of like 3 different tiers of how far in depth you want to go. So at the end of each chapter, he does have a summary of points. If you're someone that really just wanted to get through the book in half an hour and just take up the points and accept his word for it. And then you can read the book like most people do, just from cover to cover, page by page. And then there's the way that I read it, which is a bit more in-depth, and I read the notes as well. And I always encourage people to do that, read the notes of the book. Because what he does is sometimes he'll make a point, but he'll take a note. A single note will be a 3-page essay on exactly why he came to that conclusion and the data behind it. So there's really 3 different levels at which you can read this, and I appreciate that. You can really, you can read them how you want, or just different chapters how you want, and you can go as in-depth as you want. And I appreciate that. So overall, I do recommend this book. I think he made a very good point, and it teaches a very valuable lesson about government interference and declaring wars on certain things like poverty, on how there are some unintended consequences that you don't normally think of. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.